Thank you. We request you to raise for the national anthem, followed by Tamil Thai Varthu.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलति तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जाहे तव शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे நீராறும் கடலொடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராரும் வதனமென திகழ் பரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம்பியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
Please remain seated. Now we present a Bharati art song.
பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு ஞானத்திலே பரமோணத்திலே ஞானத்திலே பரமோணத்திலே உயர் மானத்திலே அன்னதானத்திலே ஞானத்திலே பரமோணத்திலே உயர் மானத்திலே எங்கள் பாரத நாடு தீரத்திலே பாடை வீரத்திலே நெஞ்சில் ஈரத்திலே உபகாரத்திலே சாரத்திலே மிகு சாத்திரம் கண்டு தருவதிலே உயர் நாடு தீரத்திலே படை வீரத்திலே நெஞ்சில் ஈரத்திலே உபகாரத்திலே தீரத்திலே படை வீரத்திலே நெஞ்சில் ஈரத்திலே உபகாரத்திலே சாரத்திலே மிகு சாத்திரம் கண்டு தருவதிலே உயர்நாடு சாரத்திலே மிகு சாத்திரம் கண்டு தருவதிலே உயர்நாடு தருவதிலே உயர்நாடு உயர்நாடு இந்த பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு பாரத நாடு பாரத நாடு.
Thank you. Parukulle Nalla Nadu, which is very similar to Sare Jahan Se Acha Hindostan Hamara. It was written at the same time. Both the songs were basically at the same period. Mahakavi Subramanya Bharati was in exile while he was in Pondicherry. He took an adventurous trip to find out if somebody is able to identify him. And he heard a lady asking for alms singing a song in the train. And immediately he wanted to compose a song in the same met, and thus was born Parukulle Nalla Nadu, Engal Bharata Nadu. May I now request the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu to inaugurate the event by lighting the lamp. I request Dr. T.K. Lakshmi, President, Mastermind Foundation, Dr. Padmavati, Director, SCARF, Dr. Subhashini, Dean of Madras School of Social Work, and Mrs. Subhashri to join us for lighting the Kuthuvilakku. The Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu is inaugurating the event by lighting the Kuthuvilakku. Along with him, we have Dr. T.K. Lakshmi, President of Mastermind Foundation, Dr. Padmavati, Director of SCARF, Schizophrenia Research Foundation, Dr. Subhashini, Dean of Madras School of Social Work, and Mrs. Subhashri. Thank you, sir. We have a cultural event here, a street play performance by the students of Madras School of Social Work, affiliated to the University of Madras. A short play promoting mental health awareness, how important it is to have a mental health awareness, promoting the health, Here we have the students of Mara School of Social Work presenting us a street play.
என்ன எல்லாரும் குண்டா சொல்லிருக்கீங்க? ஏதா அன்னதானம் ஏதா போட போறீங்களா? எனக்கு கொஞ்சம் தரீங்களா?
எப்ப பாரு சாப்பாடு தானா? அதெல்லாம் ஒண்ணு இல்ல. ராஜா வராரு.
ராஜாவா? எங்க வராரு? எதுக்கு வராரு முதல்ல?
விஷயம் தெரியாதா? நம்ம எல்லாருக்கும் ஒரு கதை சொல்ல வராரு.
அடடா, கதை சொல்ல வராரா? அப்ப நான் உட்கார்ந்து கேட்டு போறேன். ராஜா வராருல, அவர் நான் கூப்பிடட்டா?
வேணாம். நீ ரொம்ப சின்ன பையன், அதெல்லாம் சரி வராது.
ராஜாக்கு எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிக்குங்க. நீங்க போய் ஓரமா நில்லுங்க. ராஜாதி ராஜ, ராஜ கம்பீர, ராஜ மார்த்தாண்ட, ராஜ குலதிலக, வேட்டே ராஜா, விக்ரமாதித்ய ராஜா, வரார்.
சொல்லிட்டேல, வா போலாம்.
எங்கே என் முதுகு காலியாக உள்ளது? வேதா எங்கே? வேதா தனனனனனன. பீஜம் போட்ட வாப்பா. என்ன வேதா இவ்வளவு தாமதமாக வருகிறாய்?
ஆமா, உங்களுக்கு பெருசா பில்டப்லாம் கொடுத்து பேரெல்லாம் கூப்பிட்டாங்க. எனக்கு யாரும் கூப்பிடலப்பா. எனக்கு வருத்தம்பா.
நான் ராஜனடா, பில்டப் இருக்கணும்டா.
நான் உங்களுக்கு மேல வேதாடா.
டேய் வந்த விஷயத்தை சொல்லுடா.
சரி சொல்றேன். அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு சின்ன கேள்வி கேட்டுக்கிறேன்.
கேள்வி என் உயிரை வாங்குகிறாய் நீ. என்ன கேள்வி கூறு.
எல்லாம் சுலபமான கேள்விதான்.
சொல்லு.
இன்னைக்கு என்ன நாள்?
என்ன நாள்? செவ்வாய்க்கிழமை.
சரி, செவ்வாய்க்கிழமை. இன்னைக்கு என்ன கொண்டாடுறோம்?
எனக்கு மீண்டும் ஆண் பிள்ளை பிறந்திருக்கிறதா?
இதுலே இருங்க எப்ப பார்த்தாலும். அதெல்லாம் இல்ல, நான் சொல்றேன். இன்னைக்கு வேர்ல்ட் மென்டல் ஹெல்த் டே.
தமிழ்ல சொல்லுங்க.
உலக மனநல தினம்.
மனநலம்? என் நாட்டில் அனைத்து மக்களும் நலமாக தான் உள்ளார்கள்.
நலந்தானா? உடலும் உள்ளமும் நலந்தானா?
அப்படி இல்லைங்க, உடலும் உள்ளமும் நலந்தானா?
ஆஹா, இதுக்கு ஒண்ணும் குறைச்சல் இல்லையே.
என்னங்க,
அட, உங்க நாட்டு மக்கள்லாம் ஏதோ உடல் நலம்ல நல்லா இருக்காங்கன்னே வச்சுப்போம். மனசளவுல ஃபீலிங்ஸ் நல்லா இருக்காங்களா?
நல்லா தாங்க இருக்காங்க. நீங்க எனக்கு ஒன்றும் புரியல. மென்டல் ஹெல்த்னா என்னன்னு தெளிவா சொல்லுங்க. என் நாட்டு மக்கள் பத்தி நான் பிறகு கூறுகிறேன்.
மனுஷனுக்கும் மிருகத்துக்கும் இருக்கிற ஒரே ஒரு முக்கியமான வேறுபாடு சிந்தனை திறன். ஆதி காலத்துல மனுஷன் எப்போ சிந்திக்க ஆரம்பிச்சானோ அதுக்கடுத்து அது போட்ட குட்டி தான் சுய சிந்தனை. அதாவது கான்ஷியஸ்னஸ் அண்ட் செல்ஃப் கான்ஷியஸ்னஸ். பிரச்சனைக்கு சிந்திக்க ஆரம்பிச்ச காலம்லாம் போய் சிந்திக்கிறதே பிரச்சனையா இருக்கிற காலத்துக்கு வந்துட்டோங்க. இந்த கட்டத்துல தான் மனுஷனுக்கு மென்டல் ஹெல்த் அப்படின்னு ஒரு விஷயமே தெரிய வருது.
ஓஹோ,
இப்போ நம்ம மென்டல் ஹெல்த்னு சொன்னனே நமக்கு தோன்ற முதல் விஷயம் என்ன? ஐயோ டிப்ரஷன், ஐயோ ஆங்ஸைட்டி, ஐயோ ஸ்கிசோஃப்ரெனியான்னு பெருசாவே யோசிக்கிறோமே.
பெருசா யோசிச்சே பழகிட்டாங்க.
அட, இந்த மாதிரி மனப்பிரச்சனைகள்லாம் உங்க மனநலத்தை பாதிக்காதுன்னு நாங்க சொல்ல வரல. ஆனா இந்த மாதிரி பெரிய பெரிய மனப்பிரச்சனைகள்லாம் ஒரு சாதாரண மனுஷனுக்கு வரதுக்கான வாய்ப்புகள் கம்மிதான்.
என்ன வேதாணி விளையாடிக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன்? பெரிய மனப்பிரச்சனைகள்லாம் சாதாரணமான மக்களுக்கு வரதுக்கான வாய்ப்பு கம்மின்னா சாதாரணமான மக்களை எங்களுக்கு எதுக்கு இதை பத்தி பேசிக்கிட்டு இருக்கோம்?
சொல்றேன். இப்போ மென்டல் ஹெல்த்னு சொன்னோனே நமக்குள்ள சில பல குழப்பங்கள், பல கேள்விகள்லாம் வருதுல.
எக்கச்சக்கமா வருது.
ஆனா இந்த கேள்விகளுக்கான பதில நாங்க சொல்ல போறது இல்ல.
என்ன
பதில சொல்றதுக்கு பதிலா இத பத்தி இன்னும் ஆழமா புரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்காக சரியான கேள்விகளை எப்படி கேட்கணும்னு சொல்றதுக்கு தான் வந்திருக்கோம்.
கேள்வி கேட்க போறோம்.
அப்படிதான்.
சிறப்பு. வாங்க கேட்போம்.
என்ன அதுக்குள்ள கேட்கலாம்டீங்க?
வேற என்ன?
கதையை சொல்லிட்டு கேள்வி கேட்கறது தான் நம்ம ஸ்டைலே.
கதை இசை இல்லாமல் நான் இல்லை. இசையோட தான் ஆரம்பிக்கணும்.
கூப்பிடுங்க.
யார் அங்கே? ஒரு பாட்டு பாடுங்க வாருங்க.
நாட்டுக்கொரு செய்தி சொல்ல நாகரிக கோமாளி
தன்னோட வாழ்க்கைக்கு ஒரு மாற்றத்தை உருவாக்கணும்னு நினைச்சு ஒரு கற்பனை ஆயினும் பல உண்மைகள் கலந்த கதைகளை எழுதி இப்ப வெற்றிகரமா வாழ்ந்த எழுத்தாளர் மேகமித்ராவின் கதையை பத்தி தான் நம்ம பார்க்க போறோம். ஓகே ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், இன்னைக்கு கிளாஸ்ல கிராவிட்டி பத்தி பார்த்தோம். ஏதாவது டவுட்ஸ் இல்ல क्वेश्चंस இருந்துச்சுன்னா கேளுங்க.
மேம் எனக்கு ஒரு டவுட்.
கேளுமா மேகமித்ரா.
மேம் ஸ்பேஸ்ல எப்படி மேம் பாத்ரூம் போகும்? டயப்பர் போட்டுப்பாங்க.
தேவையில்லாத கேள்வி என்ன?
ஏய் சரி போதும், எல்லாரும் நிறுத்துங்க. எதுக்கு தேவையில்லாம இப்படி கேள்வி கேட்டு கிளாஸை டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ற? பெரிய 10 மணி குழந்தை நினைப்பா?
கிளாஸ் குவைட். என்னம்மா மேகமித்ரா, இந்த மாதிரி கேள்வி எல்லாம் தேவையா?
இல்ல மேம், நீங்க தானே புவியீர்ப்பு சக்தி பத்தி சொல்லி கொடுத்தீங்க. ஆனால ஒரு ஆர்வத்துல கேட்டுட்டேன்.
உன் ஆர்வத்தை நான் பாராட்டுறேன். ஆனா இந்த மாதிரி கேள்வி எல்லாம் கேட்டு கிளாஸ்ல டைம் வேஸ்ட் பண்ணாதீங்க. சப்ஜெக்ட் ரிலேட்டடான क्वेश्चंस கேளுங்க, கண்டிப்பா ஆன்சர் பண்றேன்.
சாரி மேம்.
ஓகே, கொடுத்த ஹோம்வொர்க்ஸ் எல்லாம் முடிச்சிட்டு வந்துருங்க. கிளாஸ் டிஸ்பர்ஸ்.
Thank you மேம்.
ஏய் எல்லாரும் கிளம்பிட்டாங்க, நீ வர போறியா இல்லையா?
நான் வரல, நீ போடி.
எதையோ பண்ணு. மறைந்திருந்தே பார்க்கும் மர்மம் என்ன?
மறுபடியுமா தேவையில்லாத கேள்வியை திருப்பி கேட்டுட்டியா? வந்தோமா படிச்சோமான்னு இருக்கிறது இல்ல.
ஏங்க ஒரு கியூரியாசிட்டில ஒரு கேள்வியோட தோணுச்சு கேட்டேன். அது என்ன குத்தம் சொல்லுங்க, என்ன குத்தம்?
நிறுத்துங்க. யார் நீங்க ரெண்டு பேரும்? என் வாழ்க்கையில் நடந்தது உங்க ரெண்டு பேருக்கும் எப்படி தெரியுது?
நாங்க யாருன்னு உனக்கு தெரியாதா?
தெரியாதானே கேக்குறேன்.
யாருக்கும் தெரியாதா? சரி நானே சொல்றேன். நான் நியாயம்னா
நான் நியாயம்,
நான் நீதினா
நான் நீதி,
நான் ரைட்டுனா
நான் லெஃப்ட். நீ இட்லி இவ தோசை. வந்த விஷயத்தை ஒழுங்கா சொல்லுவியா?
மொத்தத்துல உன் மனசாட்சியை ரெண்டா பிரிச்சா ஒண்ணுனா
இன்னொன்னு நான்.
அப்ப நீங்க ரெண்டு பேரும் நிஜம் இல்லையா?
முற்றிலும் உன் கற்பனை.
பைத்தியமாடி.
நீ எவ்வளவு சொல்லாத.
அப்படி இல்லனா எதுக்கு இந்த தேவையில்லாத இதெல்லாம் பண்ண? பிசிக்ஸ்ல கிராவிட்டி பத்தி சொல்லி கொடுத்திருந்தாங்க. சிலபஸ்ல இல்லாதெல்லாம் எதுக்கு உனக்கு?
சிலபஸ்ல இல்லனா கூட கத்துக்கணும்னு ஒரு ஆர்வத்துல ஒரு கேள்வியை கேட்டேன், அவ்வளவுதான்.
கியூரியாசிட்டிலாம் ஒரு பக்கம் இருந்தாலும் உன் மேம் பத்தியும் உனக்கு தெரியும், உன் கிளாஸ் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் பத்தியும் தெரியும். கலாய்ப்பாங்கன்னு தெரிஞ்சா எதுக்கு இப்படி பண்ணேன்னு எனக்கு தெரியல.
இல்ல அவ்வளவுதான் யோசிக்கல.
சரி போதும் நிறுத்துங்க. என்னதான் கியூரியாசிட்டி இருந்தாலும் இவ சொல்றது நியாயம் தானே. படிப்பு சம்பந்தப்பட்ட கேள்வி கேட்கறது தானே கரெக்ட். மத்த கேள்விலாம் எனக்கு தேவையில்ல. நீங்க கிளம்புங்க. ஹாய்ப்பா.
மாமா, டியூஷன் எல்லாம் முடிஞ்சிருச்சா?
டியூஷன்லாம் முடிஞ்சதுப்பா. நான் உங்ககிட்ட ஒரு முக்கியமான விஷயம் பேசலாம்னு வந்தேன்.
என்ன விஷயம்?
இல்ல 12th வேற முடிக்க போறேன். இந்த காலேஜ் அப்ளிகேஷன் தான் ஃபில் பண்ணனும். நீங்க ஒரு சைன் போட்டீங்கன்னா நான் வேலை எல்லாம் ஆரம்பிச்சிடுவேன்.
எங்க கூட சைன போட்டுருவோம். சைக்காலஜியா? ஏமா சயின்ஸ் குரூப் எடுத்துட்டு என்ன சைக்காலஜி டிக் பண்ணிட்டு அப்ளை பண்ணனும்ன்ற?
இல்லப்பா, சயின்ஸ் குரூப் எடுத்தேன்ற காரணத்துக்காக வழக்கம் போல மெடிசின் இன்ஜினியரிங் படிக்காம ஏதாச்சும் வித்தியாசமா படிக்கணும்னு ஆசைப்படுறேன்.
அம்மா, எல்லாருமே பண்றதுனால அதான் நீ பண்ண கூடாதா ஒண்ணும் இல்ல, சரியா?
இல்லப்பா, எனக்கு சைக்காலஜி படிக்கணும்னு ஆசையா இருக்கு.
இப்போ இந்த சைக்காலஜி இப்ப படிச்சிருன்னு வச்சுக்கோயேன், உனக்கு யாரு வேலை தர போறா? உனக்கு அதெல்லாம் என்ன வருமானம் வர போகுது?
இல்லப்பா, பிடிச்ச படிப்பு படிச்சாதானே வாழ்க்கை நல்லா இருக்கும்.
2 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி சயின்ஸ் குரூப் வேணும்னா சரி ஒத்துக்கிட்டேன். இப்போ சைக்காலஜில வந்து நிக்கிற. நாளைக்கு 2 வருஷத்துல உன் மனசு மாறாத என்ன கேரண்டி?
இதுக்கு என்ன சொல்றதுன்னு தெரியல எனக்கு.
நான் சொல்றத கவனமா கேளு. நீ சொல்றது தப்பா போறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு. நான் சொல்றது தப்பா போகுதுன்னே வச்சுக்கோயேன். இந்த ஊர்ல இருக்கவங்க எல்லாமே ஒரு விஷயத்த சொல்றாங்களே, அதுல கொஞ்சம் கூட நியாயம் இருக்காதா?
அப்படின்றீங்களா? சரி நான் யோசிச்சு சொல்லட்டா?
மா, நிறைய நேரம் இருக்குமா. நாளைக்கு என்ன எக்ஸாம் இருக்கோ அதை போய் படிப்போம்.
சரிப்பா. ஒரு பக்கம் பார்த்தா சைக்காலஜி படிக்கணும்னு எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஆசையா இருக்குங்க. ஆனா இந்த பக்கம் பார்த்தா என் அப்பா சொல்றது நியாயம் தானே. எல்லாருமே ஒரு விஷயத்தை நோக்கி போறாங்கன்னா அதுல ஏதாச்சும் ஒரு நியாயம் இருக்கும் தானே. ஐயோ குழப்பமா இருக்கே. ஐயோ மீண்டுமா இப்ப எதுக்கு வந்திருக்கீங்க?
குழப்பமா இருக்க நீ குழப்பிக்கிற அளவுக்கு ஒண்ணுமே இல்ல. உங்க அப்பா நெத்தி பொட்டுல அடிச்ச மாதிரி ஒரு கேள்வி கேட்டாரு. அதுக்கு பதில் சொல்ல தெரிஞ்சதா அவருக்கு? என்ன கேட்டாரு அவரு? 2 வருஷம் முன்னாடி ஒரு விஷயம் பிடிச்சிருக்குன்னு, இப்போ வேற ஒரு விஷயம் பிடிச்சிருக்குன்னு. இதே மாதிரி வருங்காலத்தையும் உன் ஆசைகளும் மாறாதான்னு கேட்டாரு.
உளவியல் தான் வேணும்னு உள்ளுணர்வு உறுத்துதேங்க. எனக்கு பிடிச்சது படிச்சாதானே சரியா இருக்கும். எனக்கு என்ன இப்பதான் இதான் சரி, இதுதான் எனக்கு சரியா தோணுது. அதுக்கு மேல என்ன சொல்றீங்க எனக்கு தெரியலப்பா.
உள்ளுணர்வு உறுத்துதேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு வருங்காலம் உன்னை வருத்தாம இருந்தா சரி. சரி நான் ஒரு விஷயம் சொல்றேன் கேளு. நம்ம எடுத்த முடிவுனால தப்பா வாழ்றதை விட அடுத்தவங்க எடுத்த முடிவுனால நல்லா வாழ்றதே பெட்டர். ஏங்க நான் சொல்றது நியாயம் தானே?
நியாயம்தான்.
இல்ல 10ஓட 11 இல்லாம புதுசா ஏதோ பண்ணி வாழலாம்னு நினைச்சேன்.
என்னதான் சைக்காலஜி படிக்கணும்னு ஆசையா இருந்தாலும் இவ சொல்றதும் சரிதானே. உலகத்துல எல்லாருமே ஒரு விஷயத்தை நோக்கி தானே போறாங்க. அந்த பாதையிலே நம்மளும் போக வேண்டியதானே. அதையும் தாண்டி என் அப்பா சொல்லிட்டாரு. என் அப்பா சொன்னா சரியாதான் இருக்கும். ஆனா நீங்க வந்த வேலை பார்த்துட்டு கிளம்புங்க.
ஏங்க என்னங்க எல்லாமே தப்பு தப்பா இருக்கு. சப்மிட் பண்ணதே லேட், இல்ல தப்பா வேற சப்மிட் பண்றீங்க. திருப்பி எடுத்துட்டு வாங்க போங்க.
எக்ஸ்கியூஸ் மீ சார்.
வாங்க.
ஒரு எமர்ஜென்சி சார்.
சொல்லுங்க.
இது ராஜினாமா கடிதம். நான் நாளையில இருந்து வேலைக்கு வர மாட்டேன். இந்த வேலை எனக்கு சுத்தமா பிடிக்கல.
மேடம் மேம் மேடம்.
கடவுள் பாதி மிருகம் பாதி கலந்து செய்த கலவை நாம்.
என்ன ஆச்சு உனக்கு? எதுக்கு இப்ப நீ தேவையில்லாம ரிசைன் பண்ண? நல்லா தானே போயிருந்தது உன் வாழ்க்கை.
நல்லா இருந்துச்சா? இத்தனை வருஷமா நீ சொன்ன பேச்சை கேட்டு வாழ்றதுனால எனக்கு ஒரு நாள் கூட நிம்மதி இருந்தது கிடையாது. நீ ஒரு பாதி, நான் ஒரு பாதி. உன் பக்கம் நீ சொல்ற மாதிரி நீதி, நேர்மை, நியாயம், தர்மம் எல்லாம் இருந்தனாலதான் உன் பேச்சை கேட்டு இத்தனை வருஷம் வாழ்ந்துட்டேன். அப்ப நானும் ஒரு பாதி தானே. ஏன் வேலை என்ன இங்க? இப்ப மனுஷன் நீ சொல்றபடியே வாழணும்னா அப்ப நான் இந்த பாதிக்கு என்ன வேலைங்க? நான் ஏன் இங்க இருக்கேன்?
நீ என்னதான் இவ்வளவு சொன்னாலும் இந்த உலகத்துல இருக்கிறவங்க எல்லாரும் நான் தான் நியாயம்னுவாங்க.
அதெல்லாம் எனக்கு தெரியாது. நான் சொல்ற வழிதான் இப்ப வாழ்றது சரி.
நான் சொல்ற வழிதான் சரி.
நான் தான் சரி.
நான் தான் சரி.
நான் தான் ஐயா நிறுத்துங்க. உலக சொல்லபடியே வாழ முடியல. எனக்கு பிடிச்ச மாதிரியே வாழ முடியல. ஐயோ இது நரகமா?
அருமையா பண்ணிட்டாங்க நம்ம பசங்க.
ரொம்ப சிறப்பா பண்ணாங்க. ஆனா எனக்கு கதை புரியல.
அட என்ன ராஜா, நான் சொல்றேன் கேளுங்க.
ஆ.
இப்போ அந்த பொண்ணோட வாழ்க்கையில நடந்த 3 முக்கியமான நிகழ்வுகளை பத்தி பார்த்தோமா?
பார்த்தோம்.
அதுல உங்களுக்கு என்ன புரிஞ்சதுன்னு முதல்ல சொல்லுங்க.
எனக்கு புரிஞ்சதெல்லாம் அந்த பொண்ணுக்கு மனசு நிறைய கஷ்டம் இருக்கு, மனசு நிறைய கலக்கம் இருக்கு.
எதனால இந்த கலக்கம்லாம் இருக்கு?
அந்த மனசாட்சியை ரெண்டா பிரிச்சு ரெண்டு பக்கத்துக்கு நடுவுல நிறைய கருத்து வேறுபாடு இருந்ததா, அந்த கருத்து வேறுபாடால நிறைய மனக்குழப்பங்கள் இருந்தது.
சரி ஓகே.
ஆ.
இப்போ முதல் நிகழ்வுல என்ன நடந்தது?
அதுதான் எனக்கு இன்னும் சுத்தமா புரியல. முதல் நிகழ்வுல அந்த பொண்ணு கிளாஸ் சேர்ந்தான். கேள்வி கேட்டா சுத்தி இருக்கவங்க சிரிப்பாங்க, பதில் கிடைக்காதுன்னு தெரிஞ்சும் எதுக்காக அந்த கேள்வியை அவ கேட்கணும்? மத்த பசங்க மாதிரி அமைதியா இருந்திருக்கலாம்ல.
அட என்ன, தினசரி வாழ்க்கையில உபயோகப்படுற விஷயங்களை பத்தி மட்டும் தான் ஆர்வம் கொள்ளணுமா என்ன? ஆர்வத்தால மட்டுமே கேள்வி கேட்க கூடாதா?
சரி சரி, புரியுது புரியுது. சரி, ரெண்டாவது நிகழ்வுல என்ன நடந்தது சொல்லுங்க.
ரெண்டாவது நிகழ்வுல என்ன நடந்தது? அந்த பொண்ணு தன்னோட அப்பா கிட்ட மேல் படிப்பு படிக்கிறத பத்தி பேசிக்கிட்டு இருந்தா.
பேசுனாங்க.
அந்த நேரத்துல அந்த பொண்ணுக்கு சைக்காலஜி தான் பிடிச்சிருந்தது.
ஐயோ,
அப்ப அதை தேர்வு பண்றது தானே சரியான முடிவு.
என்னங்க நீங்க பேசுறீங்க? தந்தை எவ்வளவு அழகா சொன்னாரு. தகப்பன் பேச்ச கேட்கணும். அவர் அழகா சொன்னார். சைக்காலஜி எடுத்தா உனக்கு வேலை கிடைக்கிறது கஷ்டம் சொன்னார். நியாயமா?
சரி.
அதுக்கப்புறம் சம்பாதிக்கிறது கஷ்டம், உங்க ஃபியூச்சர் பாதிக்கப்படும் சொன்னார். கரெக்டா? கரெக்ட். இதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த பொண்ணு ஆசைப்படுறான்ற ஒரே காரணத்துக்காக சைக்காலஜி எடுக்க விட்டுணுமா? அந்த பொண்ணோட ஃபியூச்சர்ல அப்பா மதிப்பு மாட்டாங்களா? இதெல்லாம் விடுங்க. நான் ஒரு கேள்வி கேட்கறேன் உங்களை. உலகத்துல எத்தனை பேர் அந்த காலேஜ்ல சீட் கிடைக்கணுன்றதுக்காகவும் அந்த வேலையில போய் உட்கார்றதுக்காக கஷ்டப்படுறாங்க, மாச கணக்கா உழைக்கிறாங்களே, படிக்கிறாங்களே. அப்ப அவங்க உழைப்பெல்லாம் நீங்க போயிருந்தீங்களா? அநியாயம் சொல்றீங்களா?
நான் ஒண்ணு சிம்பிளா சொல்லட்டா?
சொல்லுங்க.
தவறே செய்யக்கூடாது அப்படின்ற கட்டமைப்புல நம்ம வாழ்ந்துட்டா நம்ம வாழ்க்கையில எந்த ஒரு முடிவு எடுக்கிறதுக்கான சுதந்திரமே நமக்கு இல்லாம போயிடும். அது தெரியுமா?
அப்ப நீங்க என்ன சொல்ல வரீங்க? அந்த சின்ன பொண்ணு என்ன ஆசைப்படுறாளோ, தான் வாழ்க்கை எப்படி வாழணும்னு நினைக்கிறாளோ, என்னென்ன முடிவெல்லாம் எடுக்கணும்னு நினைக்கிறாளோ அவ போக்கிலே விட்டுணும்னு சொல்றீங்களா? அப்படி வாழ்ந்தா அவளுக்கு மனப்பிரச்சனை இருக்காதுன்னு சொல்றீங்களா?
அடடா, என்ன இந்த ராஜா இப்படி பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு? இந்த கதையை நான் எதுக்கு சொன்னேன்னு நீங்க நினைக்கிறீங்க?
சொல்லுங்க, நீங்களே சொல்லுங்க.
இந்த கதையை சொன்னதுக்கான காரணம், ஒரு பக்கம் தான் நியாயம் இருக்கணும், மறுபக்கம் நியாயம் இல்லைன்னு இல்ல. ஒரு பக்கம் தான் வசதி, ஒரு பக்கம் கம்மின்னு சொல்றதுக்கும் இல்ல. ஒரு மனுஷனோட வாழ்க்கையில ஒரு பக்கத்தை பகைச்சுக்கிட்டு மறுபக்கத்தை சார்ந்து மட்டுமே வாழ்ந்துட முடியாது அப்படின்னு சொல்றதுக்காக தான்.
ஓஹோ, சரி. கடைசியா ஒரு கேள்வி.
சரி.
இந்த கதைக்கும் மென்டல் ஹெல்த்துக்கும் என்ன சம்பந்தம்?
ஆஹா, சரியான அருமையான கேள்வி.
Thank you.
ரொம்ப பெருமைப்படுகிறீங்க.
சரி.
சரி, இப்போ ஒரு மனுஷனோட வாழ்க்கையில, சாதாரண மனுஷனோட வாழ்க்கையில மன உளைச்சல்கள் ஏற்படுறதுக்கான அடிப்படை காரணம் இந்த மாதிரி மனசாட்சியோட இரு பகுதிகளுக்கு இடையே ஏற்படுற இந்த கருத்து வேறுபாடு தான்.
தெளிவா புரிஞ்சுது.
பாருடா, இவ்வளவு நேரம் புரியல, இப்ப புரியுதா?
சரி, சொல்லுங்க.
இந்த கருத்து வேறுபாடு தான். இந்த கருத்து வேறுபாடு தான். இந்த கருத்து வேறுபாடையும் தாண்டி இதுதான் எல்லா பிரச்சனைகளுக்கும் அடிப்படையான இது.
ஓகே.
இப்போ எது செய்யணும் எதை செய்யக்கூடாதுன்னு சொன்னாங்களே தவிர அவளுக்கு எது பிடிச்சது பிடிக்கலங்கிறதே காட்டலையே.
தப்பு தப்பு. சரி, கடைசி கேள்வி ஒண்ணு.
அடடா, கேட்டுக்கிட்டே இருக்கீங்க.
ஒரு கேள்விங்க.
கேளுங்க.
கதையோட முடிவுல ஒரு கேள்வி கேட்பீங்களே, அதுதான் நான் வந்தோம். அந்த கேள்வி கேளுங்க.
வெரி குட்.
ஆர்வமா இருக்கேன்.
ஐ லைக் திஸ் பாயிண்ட்.
Thank you.
இப்போ இந்த கேள்வி நம்ம சமூகத்துக்கும் ராஜா உங்களுக்கும் சேர்த்து தான். கேட்டுக்கிறீங்களா?
கேப்போம் கேப்போம்.
காரணம் வைத்து பகுத்தறிவோடு வாழ்வதா, இல்லை உணர்வுகளை மதித்து மனிதனாய் வாழ்வதா? எண்ணங்களின் கட்டமைப்பில் நன்றாய் வாழ்வதா, இல்லை உணர்ச்சிகளின் மத்தியில் குழப்பத்தோடு வாழ்வதா? கடைசியா ஒரு கேள்வி, அனைவரையும் போல் சமூகம் அமைத்த பாதையில் நீயும் செல்வதா, இல்லை உனக்கேற்ற பாதையை நீயே அமைத்துக் கொள்வதா? பதில் சொல்லுங்க, கேட்போம்.
பதில் தெரியவில்லை.
தெரியவில்லையா?
தெரியவில்லை.
இப்படி வாங்க,
சொல்லுங்க.
இப்படி வாங்க. ஓகேங்களா?
ஓ.
பதில் தெரியல.
சரி. சரி, வந்தோம், கதை சொன்னோம், கொட்டு வாங்கிட்டேன். போவோமா?
என்ன போக மாட்டீங்க? வணக்கம் சொல்ல வேண்டாமா?
வணக்கம் வணக்கம் சொல்லிட்டு போவோமா? அனைவருக்கும்
Thank you, Thank you, Madras School of Social Work. That is a perfect solution to the question you asked, which was given by Thiruvalluvar. தனக்குவமை இல்லாதான் தாழ் சேர்ந்தார் கல்லால் மனக்கவலை மாற்றல் அரிது. When you have a confusion, anxiety, when you are totally confused, not able to make a decision, just surrender yourself unto the feet of the Lord and He will help you to overcome that. He also gives another solution, எண்ணிய எண்ணியவாங்கு எய்துவர் எண்ணியர் திண்ணியராகப் பெறின். If your decision is right and you stick to that, you will be able to achieve that. Thank you, Madras School of Social Work. Now we present to you a fusion dance and music by the special children of Development Opportunities, Resources, Access and Insight, shortly called Dorai Foundation. The children of Dorai Foundation will now present to us a fusion dance and music.
Good morning. Chick, chick, chick.
எடுப்பேன் நானே மாதம் மனசில் உன்னை நினைச்சா அதை நடத்தணும் நண்பா கன்ஃபார்ம் ஒரு முறை தான் தொட்டாலே மேல கைதா வச்சாலே திருப்பி அதை கொடுத்தாட திஷ்டி தாண்டா ராமம்மா ஏ ராமம்மா ஜாலிய ஜிந்தானா ராசம்மா ஏ ராசம்மா சொன்னது என்னன்னா ராமம்மா ஏ ராமம்மா ஜாலிய ஜிந்தானா ராசம்மா ஏ ராசம்மா சொன்னது சரிதானா லா 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 ஜாலிய ஜிம்கானா நன்றி
Thanks to the special children of Dorai for this wonderful performance, Jolly Lo Gymkhana. True to the words of Saint Mahakavi Subramanya Bharati, Manadil Uradi Vendum, Vakinile Inimai Vendum, Ninaivu Nalladu Vendum. And finally he says, Kanavu Meipada Vendum. So with the confidence, you brilliantly presented as a fusion dance and a song. Thank you. Now we present to you a short movie on mental health. Mastermind Foundation had invited short movies from various institutions, and the shortlisted finalists would be presented now in this August hall amongst the August audience. The first to be presented would be Wales Institute of Science and Technology and Advanced Studies short movie titled Monotonous. Now we present to you Monotonous from Wales Institute of Science, Technology and Advanced Studies. that was Monotonous, presented by Wales Institute of Science, Technology and Advanced Studies. The impact of social media during COVID was beautifully presented, and here again, Thiruvalluvar has a perfect recipe solution. Veelipai sakkadu machirum appandam salamigithu peyin, which means anything on an overdose will be a spoil or will be a spoil alert. So entertainment, education, exercise, everything should be in its proper dose. Veelipai sakkadam is where he mentions, even if it is the peacock feather, if it is loaded beyond a limit, it will lead to the breakdown of the cart. Now we present to you the next short movie by SRM Institute of Science and Technology titled Dear Diary. Let's watch Dear Diary by SRM Institute of Science and Technology.
என்னப்பா காலேஜ் எப்படி போணுச்சு?
ஜாலியாக தான்மா போச்சு.
ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் செட் ஆகிட்டாங்களா?
நல்லாவே செட் ஆகிட்டாங்கம்மா.
சாப்பிட்றியாம்மா?
இருமா, கொஞ்சம் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ்கிட்ட பேசிட்டு வந்துடுறேன்.
Dear Diary is a short movie presented by SRM Institute of Science and Technology. Being in a group does not always make one happy. There is a difference in being lonely, feeling lonely, and having an alone time. There is a difference between the two is what is depicted in this short movie. May we now request the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu to come over to the dais for the event. I request Dr. T.K. Lakshmi, President of Maharaj Mind Foundation, Dr. Padmavati, Director, SCARF, Nandakumar IRS, Shri R.S. Ramanathan, Retired Justice of Madras High Court, Dr. Subhashini, Dean of Madras School of Social Work, to join us on the dais, please. Thank you, sir. I now request Dr. Lakshmi T.K., founder and president of Madras Mind Foundation, to welcome the gathering. Madras Mind Foundation, established in 2005 by Dr. Lakshmi, is a non-profit organization that promotes mental health awareness. MMF has organized several health awareness programs for the armed services, school, colleges, and has also done a lot of relief work during the floods in 2016, Gaja cyclone, Varda cyclone, providing shelter. Their services during the pandemic, COVID-19, setting up a facility in 13 regional languages, has reached out more than 1 lakh individuals. May I request Dr. Lakshmi to deliver the welcome address.
Honorable Governor and distinguished special guests, Justice Ramanathan sir, Nandakumar sir, Dr. Padmavati ma'am, Subhashini ma'am, esteemed academicians, professors, students, and my dear special buddies from various schools, special schools, and their parents. Vanakkam, Vandanam, Suswagatam. It is with great pleasure and a deep sense of privilege that I stand before you today on this momentous occasion of World Mental Health Day. 2 decades ago, when I started my career in the field of psychology, if anyone had told me that we would be celebrating the World Mental Health Day at the Raj Bhavan, I would not have believed, because of the awareness and the taboo that was there in the society then. I have traveled across the nation in the vision of spreading the awareness of mental health. This is the first place where Honorable Governor himself has taken his precious time to interact with the professors, academicians, and the young budding psychologists and share his views and rich experience with us about the rich heritage of Bharatiya Sahityik sources on mental health. Thank you, sir. We have come a long way since then, but we still do have a long way to go toward making mental health available and accessible to all. Indeed, today, we gather to mark not just a day, but a collective commitment to recognizing the intrinsic value of mental health that transcends borders, backgrounds, and beliefs. In an assembly where the topics of rich values and collective commitment are being discussed, it becomes imperative to discuss the intrinsic knowledge and the rich essence of ancient Indian literary sources and start the much needed discussion among the professionals, academicians, and the future psychologists, and dare to think, how long are we going to let the field of psychology be colonized by the Western ideas and influence? In the age where we have a specific amnesia towards the contributions of the Indian sages and rely on the aesthetic theories of Western psychologists, it's high time that we turn our mind inwards and clear the fluctuations of the mind. As Maharshi Patanjali says, Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodha, while overcoming the fads of fashion and take the responsibility of bringing the rich theories and understand them. In Thirumandiram, given by the great Siddhar Tirumular, he says, உடம்பினை முன்னம் இழுக்கென்று இருந்தேன் உடம்பினுக்குள்ளே உரு பொருள் கண்டேன் உடம்புளே உத்தமன் கோயில் கொண்டான் என்று உடம்பினை யான் இருந்து ஓம்புகின்றேனே. Here he clearly talks about the importance of having our locus of control inwards, where one can find the true happiness. He states, because the speck of the consciousness is within this body, it is highly important that we take care of this body through yoga asanas and breathing exercises. The same is reflected in Katha Upanishad with the help of the model of chariot. The Upanishad says, there is a chariot which has 5 horses pulling it. The horses have reins in their mouths, which are in the hands of a charioteer. A passenger is sitting at the back of the chariot. Ideally, the passenger should instruct the chariot, who should then control the reins and guide the horses in the proper direction. However, in this case, the passenger has gone to sleep, and so the horses are holding sway. In this analogy, the chariot is the body, the horses are the 5 senses. The reins in the mouth of the horses is the mind, the charioteer is the intellect, and the passenger seated behind is the soul residing in the body. This analogy of Katha Upanishad nails the importance of bringing the mind and its senses through the practice of yoga, and yoga alone can help people rid of all diseases of both the body and the mind. As Bhagavad Gita says in chapter 6 and verse 17, Yukta harasya viharasya, Yukta chetasya karmasu, Yukta svapnova bodhasya, Yogo bhavati dukkha. Such a yogi who has moderation and maintains a balance in work, life, entertainment, food habits, activities, and also follow a proper sleep pattern, one can overcome all the pain and sufferings. This event is planned to highlight the importance and rich heritage of psychology and its basis present in the Bharatiya Sahityik Sroth, ancient Indian literary sources. It is only when we embrace and understand the extremely rich texts present in Bharatiya Sahityam that we will be able to fully understand the juxtaposition of the complexity as well as the simplicity of the human nature. As we embark on this day of reflection and advocacy, let us remember the words of Kavi Kabir Das ji, who said, Poti padi padi jagmuva, padit bayana koi, dai akshar prem ka pade so padit hoi. In these small 2 lines, Kabir Das ji has revealed the entire essence of the aesthetic theories of Carl Rogers, Abraham Maslow, and Viktor Frankl, whose theories the entire Western psychology hinges upon. Let us all understand that mental health can only be reached to the corners of the world when we understand the true meaning of unconditional love and positive regard, as said by Radha Krishna. Trying to bring the essence of our ancient literary sources, I have made an attempt to incorporate those teachings in the practical applications of psychology in my books. I am honored and privileged that my books today are released by such a person who has in-depth knowledge in the ancient Indian literary sources, and that is none other than our Honorable Governor. The entire fraternity of psychology is honored, sir. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. May this day serve as a catalyst for a change, a day that sparks conversations, builds bridges, and fosters a world where mental health is a right and not a privilege. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi, for the welcome address. You touched upon the ancient texts, and Tirumular in his Tirumandiram says, Ullam Perunkovil, Unudambu Alayam. It is very important that we take care of the physical fitness to take care of our mental fitness. He also mentions, Udambar Ariyil, Uirar Arivar, Tidambada Menyanam Seravum Matar, Udambai Valarkum, Ubayam Arinde, Udambai Valarthen, Uir Valarthene. So the way we take care of ourselves in 360-degree perspective is very important, as mentioned by Tirumular. May I now request Dr. Lakshmi TK, founder and president of Mastermind Foundation, to felicitate the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu by presenting a shawl and memento. I request Dr. Lakshmi TK to felicitate the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu by presenting the shawl and the memento. Thank you, sir. Now we have the special address on mental health stigma in the present society and the measures to overcome it by Dr. R. Padmavati, Director, Schizophrenia Research Foundation, shortly called SCARF. Dr. R. Padmavati holds a master's in psychiatry from the Bombay University and has been with SCARF for the last 28 years. Her research area includes epidemiological studies, drug trials, untreated schizophrenia, metabolic disorders in mental health, and a lot. She has and continues to study the socio-cultural aspect of mental illness. She works on psychological rehabilitation. We now request Dr. Padmavati to deliver her special address.
Greetings on the World Mental Health Day 2023 to the August gathering on the dais and all my young friends and younger friends, if I can say so. I'm indeed delighted to be here on a very important occasion. Sometimes we ask ourselves, why do we have to have all these world days? Whether it's World Friendship Day or World Mental Health Day, World Disability Day, Women's Days, and so on. Why is it only one day in a year that we have to acknowledge people, acknowledge problems? Then I realized, this was a question when I asked as I was young, like the young people who performed here on the stage. But over time, over 3 decades, I've realized that, yes, these are opportunities for us to push across a point of view. And I think where mental health is concerned, this is an area which is still shrouded with stigma, and therefore there is a need to keep repeating again and again what we as mental health professionals, what we as young psychologists out here, and the faculty from psychology and our esteemed author here on books on psychology understand. We do need to carry this forward. Let me tell you a small story here. There's a young girl, 20 years old, who comes from Ayodhya Nagar. This is a fictitious story, but yet it is a story that we've heard, we as mental health professionals have seen quite often, and I'd like to share that with you. This young girl, let me just call her Sujata, just like that. It's not a true story, but yet it's a true story. Sujata is 20 years old. For 4 years, she has been having some problems. Her family finds her strange. They see her sitting talking to herself. They see that she is, unkempt. They notice her getting angry every now and then, and she feels that people around her are out to harm her. I'm not going to use terms. I'm not going to use diagnostic terms here, because is it important? For me, yes, it's important. But for the common man, is it? I don't think so, really. Because what you are seeing is a behavior pattern. And the more we recognize that there is a behavior pattern which could be a mental health problem. That is more important than knowing terminologies around psychiatry. And we have a lot of them. We have a lot of jargon, which I'm not really going to reflect upon right now. So this young girl has a brother and another sister who simply hate her. Why do they hate her? Because the society around Ayodhya Nagar are talking ill about her. They're actually, it's not just this girl's idea. They're actually saying, idu oru paithiyam, idu loose. நீங்க ஏன் இங்க வச்சிட்டு இருக்கீங்க அவங்கள? சரி ஐராவரத்துல போய் அட்மிட் பண்ணிடுங்களே. And so on and so forth. So they are worried. They don't want to be associated with anything to do with mental health. The mother is very worried. The father believes that alcohol is the solution to the problems. He comes home after work, has visited the nearest Tasmac and goes off to sleep. He is not bothered. The mother is the one who's afraid, and then you have a group of mental health, students from MSSW have gone there, done the same street play out there, and then they realize that this could be a treatable problem, right? So this girl goes for treatment, becomes better. However, does the society accept her back? I'm sorry, no. They still remember the times when she was unwell, which was 4 years long. She's now okay only for 6 months. She's come to SCARF, she's taken treatment with us, she's much better. We've identified, we have provided her with psychosocial rehabilitation, and she's fine. But does the community accept her? She wants to do tailoring. The vocational department has provided her skills in tailoring, but is there a tailor to give her a job? No. So stigma shrouded around mental health, unfortunately, is still around. Now let's just go to the family. The mother, as I told you, the brother, sister are all don't want to have anything to do with her. They have found jobs and they're busy with their own lives. It is the mother who's suffering. It is the mother who's unable to understand why the family is behaving like this, why the society is behaving like this. It's then that again, a group of young people who go there repeatedly. They do their street play. Let's just assume that it is the same group of young people from MSSW who have actually done that. And I know for sure that there are colleges around who are doing this again and again, and they're trying to educate the community. Unfortunately, the stigma and the discrimination around mental health continues to remain. And we have the World Mental Health Day is one occasion where we can shout loud and clear and say, hey, mental health is a universal right, right? Now, so the story, I would like to stop the story here because there's a lot of, not so good news that I have been telling you so far. But I'm also very happy to share with you that the media has been playing its role. And I'm sure in the city of Chennai, you would have seen a lot of reporting by the media in the paper. Fortunately, the language has changed. So thank you very much for the press who's here. The language has definitely changed over time. We are not talking very, very, negatively about mental health. There are still some instances when you have, especially when there are celebrity suicides and so on, there's a lot of, drama associated with any kind of communication, and I'm sure with time things will change, right? But the important thing here for young people to carry home is the language which you are using to speak about persons with mental health. We need not bother about terminologies, diagnostic entities, and so on. That's my business. As a doctor, that's my business. And as I promised you, I'm not going to tell you names out here. The Schizophrenia Research Foundation has been doing a lot of work over the last 3.5 decades. We're going to be 40 years next year, so we've done a lot of work in the area of how do you communicate. And I'm very happy to share that we have been doing online programs where we are helping people, students of journalism, media, to actually report better. And I'm sure over a period of time, the language will change. But it's important for us to acknowledge that if there is somebody with serious mental disorders, today it's a fashion to talk about stress. Everyone is depressed, everyone is stressed, everyone is anxious, right? And there are lots and lots and lots of things that one can do to make your own life better. But where the serious mentally ill are concerned, where severe mental disorders are concerned, there's not much of talk around it, right? People are still hesitant. And I'm really happy for this opportunity to talk loud and clear that, hey, here are a group of people. There is one person with severe mental disorder in a group of 100 adult people. But that one person's life matters because mental health is a universal right. Let us today take a vow that we will acknowledge persons with mental health problems, we will acknowledge persons with mental disability so that the quality of their life can improve. And I'm certain with a whole bunch of evidence that's now accruing across the globe, we will definitely be able to help out people with serious mental disorders. And on this note, I would like to thank this opportunity for allowing me the stage to talk. And I hope I have communicated this message that each one of you, if you go out of this room today and think about all those people with serious mental disorders and what you can do with them, I think my job is done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Padmavati. We would also pledge to take a vow that when we step out of this hall, we will treat them with dignity. And as a society, the role that the society plays in the wellness of a person with a mental problem, we will definitely appreciate that and try to cooperate with your efforts that you put to make the society a better place to live in. May I now request Sri Nandakumar IRS to give his special address on turning special needs into special skills. Mr. Nandakumar IRS is a self-made person, and he does a lot of outreach program to reach the young and the educated children who need hand-holding in their career opportunities. He is an avid photographer, a singer, a motivational speaker, and a bundle of joy who loves Ellam Inbamayam, finding happiness in small things and everything that he comes across. May I now request Mr. Nandakumar IRS to deliver his special address.
Happy morning, Honorable Governor and all the dignitaries, and happy morning to everyone. I couldn't see a smile on your face. I think all are very serious. But the topic which was given was a special need. Do we require a special skill? That's very important. And I would like to highlight a very micro incident, but it has a macro impact on each and every one. So I was having my tea. When I was having my tea in the restaurant, I could find a father and mother having a very small kid. That kid was more excited, and so excited because she has a flying balloon. But the father and mother was very much bothered because the flying balloon was a free balloon. So when the child leaves, the father and mother, because they have to spend extra. But the child is never bothered. She is very happy with the balloon, what she has. So she wants to maximize her happiness by playing with the balloon. She is not bothered. But the parents are much bothered. So when we grow up, we also become like the child becoming the parent. And so this is how the mental healthness. Today, the mental healthness is very important. Especially, I could see the special children who have come here and performing. When they performed, we could see the empathized performance. They are coming out of their whatever, and it's very important. This is how I just want to state. Everyone have their mental stake, and this mental stake is very important because what is bothering us? What is bothering us? Everyone have a botheration when it is highly personalized. When it is not personalized, again, we don't bother. We have a concern. Like we have a concern for the nation. We have concern for the society. We have concern for every human being. But when it comes to personal aspects, we are highly bothered. So this is where shifting ourselves from a botheration mode to a concern mode. So when you're concerned, we have a concern for everything. We tend to understand. So this is as being a school dropout, because when I dropped out, for my dyslexic factors, my parents never bothered because they know that I will make up my life. This is how the younger generation which I would like to state. What actually bothered was, it is my teachers when I didn't score well or I didn't perform well. They were bothering, and that's why they didn't want to have me in the classroom, so they made me to, you just get dropped out or rather go to the other school. So this one really made me to think, what is this education all about it? And when I thought, I found that becoming a child labor, after becoming a child labor and working for at least 6 years, then getting into my college education, I found that whatever I lived, that was the knowledge. And that is where I could able to connect when I started reading, understanding, when I become at least crossing my adolescence. This is how I'm just telling, the special requirement or a special moment. And I would like to state, when I appeared for the interview, the UPSC interview, it is about 20 minutes to judge my personality, that how I will perform for the next, again, until I retire. But I was actually thinking that how did they assess my personality in 20 minutes? It is about my attitude, my personality, my ethics and integrity. This was the greater botheration for everyone who came for the interview, that they want to be the best in the interview. So this botheration. But I felt this 20 minutes that I'm going to live. I'm going to live happy. I'm going to live that whatever I was actually for the moment, the days, the years, the days and the minutes, whatever I've lived, I'm going to reflect myself. When I'm going to reflect myself, I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to act. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to live myself what am I. If the other side again, the experts and the senior members again, if they feel me that I'm performing, what is their expectation? I didn't know what actually they expected from me. But when I started performing, then I felt that 20 minutes, when I dropped out of school, I was selling my lottery ticket. I used to say very, very proud of the moments actually I lived as such. When I was selling, I'm an introvert, basically an introvert, where this list actually never allowed me to interact also. So when I was selling my lottery ticket, I have to speak to everyone, every customer. When I was initially selling myself, I felt that I'm selling myself, I'm not selling lottery ticket. When I'm selling myself, I was able to convince the people who couldn't have a botheration or rather have the intention to buy a lottery ticket. So it is more about conveying myself and trying to understand the human being, every human being and their intention, their habit and their attitude. So that almost my 4 years of my experience with each and every human being, understanding their personality, that gave me the opportunity to come out rather from my introvertness, that this is again the special need that gave me that what I was doing myself in my child labor days, that was giving me the sense, greater sense, the very important. The days, or I always state, during our olden days, we used to have a radio. That radio would have had a short wave, SW and MW. The long waves again, the long waves would have traveled from other countries and even from very long station from the towers. And those towers were reaching us, we do not know, we would have not seen also. But now we have shifted from the short wave, medium wave to the frequency modulation, very short wave. When we move out of the zone, we are lost, the signal is lost. The emotions are also the same way. It is more of a frequency modulation. It's ups and downs, which makes our life so shortened. And that doesn't give a quality of life. This is where the mental healthness, the positive mental healthness. You have your basic values. When everyone is going to have their basic values, which is again, we would state that Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. Mata, it's not the hierarchy. I never feel that it's a hierarchy. It is always a sphere. Mother has given the values as long as we were in the home. That is again the special. My mother felt how, or rather, she would have not taught me, but she would have conditioned me how to handle the special situation by herself. My father, again, a greater sphere. That sphere has given me that to handle the situation when I'm going out of the home. And the Guru, And many times again, the Guru is very important to moderate our ego and even to express what is again. And when my Guru, Sridharan IFS, Sridharan Madhusudan IFS, when he was actually, I've never interacted very much greater time, but when he has given me the moment where I was failing, that was the special need or the special requirement I felt that I should come out. And that gave me the positive orientation. This is where the Guru all about. When I don't find answers with the human being, I always tend to look for the nature. Nature is nothing but the greater, the Devam, that's again the infinite. The infinity is the Lord actually. When I look for the infinity, it has provided me ample solutions and ample ways. That ways which made me to live the best for this day. So this is the special need which has given me a special skill, and this is all about every day, every moment, we feel happy for ourselves to live to ourselves and making others and the nation very great. So this is all about the positive mental health net, and I would like to thank the Honorable Governor and all the dignitaries giving me this occasion. So positive mental health is the core. Thank you once again, please.
Thank you, Sri Nandakumar Ayaris. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna talks to Arjuna and says, Asanshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Grihyate, which means when you are confused, when you are in a dilemma, when you do not know what to do, the only thing that can stabilize your mind is abhyasa. Abhyasa is practice, which you practically experienced and shared it with us. And also, Thiruvalluvar has the kural for you, Manam thuyarukku echam nandragum, inam thuyarukku illai nandru aha vinay. Your parents worked very well with you. So Manam thuyar, the one who has are pure at heart, their children will do well. And the children who are pure at heart, there is nothing that they cannot achieve. Thank you, Mr. Nandakumar Ayaris. May I now request this, Justice R.S. the Ramanathan, retired judge of Madras High Court, to deliver his special address. He is from a family of second-generation legal professional from Tirunelveli, and I have a very, very proud moment to introduce a person from the same alma mater that I went to, a person who studied from St. John's College, Palayamkottai, and I'm an alumni of St. John's College, Palayamkottai too. Starting his career in 1976, was appointed additional judge at the Madras High Court in 2009, and in 2 years elevated as a permanent judge of the Madras High Court. May I now request you to give your special address, sir.
His Excellency, the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, dignitaries on the dais, and ladies and gentlemen, I thank the organization for giving this opportunity to say some few words about the mental health as well as human rights. Probably being a retired judge, this topic was given to me, but fortunately, the theme of this year of mental health is mental health as universal human right. If you go through the Mental Health Care Act 2017, mental illness is defined in such a manner that every one of us will come under the definition at one point of time. It is not as if a person is mentally ill because he is having some deficiency, he is having some problem. Every person is undergoing the phase of mental illness at some point of time in life. Therefore, we will have to recognize and respect the persons with mental illness and treat them as a fellow human being and give them all the respects. I want to say some examples from the life I have seen. According to me, a human rights given to the mental health person starts from the house itself. As we say, charity begins at home. The rights to be given to the mentally ill person must start from the house. The persons in the house, the parents, brothers, sisters, relatives, must start giving the mentally ill person a respect and treat the person as a human being. That will be a first step to change the orientation of a mentally ill person. I have seen a person that is, he was a retired IAS officer. He rose to the rank of Chief Secretary of Madras, Tamil Nadu. And his brother was a mentally ill person. But he keeps his brother with him in his house. Not only that, he introduced his brother to all the dignitaries who visited him in his house. That is the way he respected his brother, and he made the visitors also respect his mentally ill person. Similarly, one of my cousin's son is not a mentally ill person, but he is a physically handicapped, and because of the physically handicapped, he has become mentally disturbed after some time. But the entire family members will give him respect, and he will be brought in the company of others. Whenever they talk about the problems or the joys and sorrows in the family, that will be shared along with him. And that will make a person to think that he is also a normal person and he is not a mentally disturbed person. To give some more example which you can appreciate and understand, all of us must have seen the film Guna, Dinamalar, and Alavanda. These are three examples of a mentally ill person, how they behave, how the society respects them. In Guna, the main character is a mentally ill person, but he is very affectionate and he loves everyone. And he cannot tolerate injustice. That is the person that has been depicted in that film. In the film Alavanda, the evil side of a person, the evil side of a mentally ill person has been depicted beautifully. And it has been, the character will tell in the film that Tayam ippudi vilundadinal nee appadi aayite na ippadi aayite nu solluvom. Therefore, there is no difference between an ordinary person and a mentally ill person. There is some problem, there is some mistake in his gene, and that caused the person to become a mentally ill person. That doesn't mean that person can be deprived of all the rights or he must be shunted in a room. Because, as a matter of fact, the Right of Person with Disabilities Act treated the mental illness as one of the disabilities. And that gives them a right to apply for employment and get admission in the educational institutions. Similarly, in the film Dinamalar, the hero is a mentally ill person, and how he behaves intelligently to get custody of his daughter. Therefore, the mentally ill person is not a person to be rejected or to be condemned, and they are to be treated only as a human being, and they demand respect from the public. If the public and the family recognizes the dignity of the mentally ill person, that will help a long way for them to come out from the mental illness and they behave a normal life. I thank the organization for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You helped us easily relate to the most popular movies that we have seen, and you took the example from the movies, so we would be able to take home the examples very easily. Thank you so much, sir. May I now request Dr. Subhashini, Dean of Madras School of Social Work, to give her special address on the role of educational institutions in promoting mental health. Dr. Subhashini, Dean of Madras School of Social Work, started as an associated professor, rose to become a guest professor to academic council member to the Dean of Madras School of Social Work. We now request Dr. Subhashini to deliver her special address on role of educational institutions in promoting mental health.
Very good morning to the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu and the other dignitaries on the dais, my dear teaching faculty, other guests, the press, and my dear students, both from the special school and from my own college. It's a great opportunity that I have been given to address all of you and talk about the role of educational institutions in promoting mental health. I draw a parallel between mental health and educational institutions or education per se. The reason being that both of them, there's a lot of similarity. The educational institutions' prime objective is to see that we bring about an all-rounded development of an individual. Similarly, if you see the definition given by WHO, it says, okay. WHO conceptualizes mental health as a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. Every educational institution, taking the first part of the definition where we talk about each one being helped to realize his own abilities and potentials, we in every educational institution try to see that we are trying to develop them intellectually, see that they gain a lot of knowledge, they have a lot of, whatever they can learn from an educational institution is what is provided in any academic setup. So that way we are trying to see that how I'm trying to see that relate mental health with educational institutions. The primary role of an educational institution is to focus on learning, knowledge sharing, and intellectual development. The second part of the definition talks about cope with normal stress of life. We help students cope with normal stress. How do we do this? There's a lot of difference between a student who has studied in a distance mode of education and a student who has studied in regular institutions, in a college setup or a school setup. The basic thing is, the school setup or a college setup, I would equal it to a social lab. You relate to people, you interact with people, you get to know about emotions, how do you relate to people? So that's very important, and it acts as a social lab. Of course, today's educational institutions also have counseling services, counseling centers. There are counselors in most schools and colleges. We also have started the mentoring system where there is a deep connect between the teacher and the taught. Immediately, a teacher can reach out to a student, and a student can reach out to the teacher. So that way we connect through this mentoring system that we almost have in all institutions. Most educational institutions have sports activities. Okay, sports are one part of physical activity. It builds not only the physical thing, because we say that there's a sound mind in a sound body. So physical activities are part of any educational institution, and it also means that it is during these sports activities that we bond together. A lot of team spirit is realized. Trust, we promote self-confidence, and team spirit is all, seen to it that it's all therein when you indulge in sports activities. Mindfulness, yoga, gyms, they've all crept into the compounds of most educational institutions. Today we have them all in most colleges and schools. Another part of the definition is can work productively and fruitfully. This is taken care by, our curriculum today has a lot of soft skills, personality developments, value education programs. All these are programs that help you start off from self-awareness, something to know about the self, and it goes on to seeing how we can relate to others also. So communication skills, leadership skills, problem solving, and creativity, decision making, all these are enhanced in an educational setup by seeing that these are all components, and it acts as more like a finishing school because we're also not only preparing them in the institution to see that they develop, but also to see that they're ready for the job market. So placements also get increased because of this. The last part of the conceptualization of WHO's thing is makes a contribution to his or her community. Most schools and colleges have NSS, NCC programs, and they provide students service to make them service-oriented and to promote selfless service amongst young citizens. They become proactive, they radiate positivity and spread happiness. Yes, schools and colleges are like a banyan tree providing shelter. They are like a garden with a lot of fruits and flowers for each one of them to take away the fruits and flowers. That I have mentioned that every academic institution gives. But then the glaring question remains, why then are there so many mental health issues cropping up? We as teachers and parents must promote a positive environment. Let us not produce mark-making machines. Let every child work to the best of his ability. Let us treat every child equally with no discrimination. Identify each child's potential and help him, her blossom in that. The world today has ample opportunities. Show love, care, and empathy to every student. Give them a feeling of being wanted. No child should feel isolated, withdrawn, depressed, or angry. We must make them strong to face life's challenges. Teachers and parents are like gardeners. It's our duty to nurture every plant that is the student. The happiest moment for a gardener is when the flowers bloom and the fruits and bear fruits. So is the teacher's happiness when each of our students grow up to be successful individuals and become an asset to himself, his family, his alma mater, his organization, his city, his nation, and the world at large. One of the earliest days to be celebrated is the Teacher's Day. That was one thing that we all cherish as teachers. Let's live to the role and expectation of a teacher, even before Guru comes, before the Devam comes, the Guru. So that is the importance of the role, and we need to play that role perfectly. Teachers make academic institutions. The oath for all of us teachers on this Mental Health Day is to be empathetic, caring, and inclusive of every student who passes through the portals of our academic institutions, thus enabling and ensuring them to be mentally healthy. I would like to bring to you your attention that in India, Tiruvallur 2000 years back did make a mention of Mananalam, which means mental health. It's only much later, the last 200 years, we have been talking about mental health, but ancient Indian history does talk about mental health long, long ago. While psychology is less than 2 centuries old. Now the world over, we are totally talking about mental health. I leave on a positive note, to be happy, spread cheer, the key to mental health. So be happy and be spreading cheer. That should be promoting mental health. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Subhashini. Mahakavi Subramanya Bharati says, Pootai tirapadu kayyale, nalla manam tirapadu madiyale, wherein we means a lock can be unopened with the help of a key, whereas by a mind can be only by source of knowledge, and knowledge comes from the Guru, and rightly said how educational institution plays a role here. The saint poet Nammalvar says, Mananaha malamara malarmisai elutharum mananunar. That is, manan ahat, the dirt, impurity inside a heart can be cleared. Only one can feel his own self and pray to the Almighty. And now we move on to the book launch, the book authored by Dr. Lakshmi T.K. May I request the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu to launch and unveil the book titled Brithi Vidya, and unveiling the secrets of Indian Psychology, written by Dr. Lakshmi T.K. I also request Dr. Subhashini Dean Maharaj School of Social Work to come and receive Bridi Vidya, and Dr. R. Padmavati, Director of SCARF, to receive the first copy of Unveiling the Secrets of Indian Psychology. Bridi Vidya the focus is on the Indian psychotherapy, keeping Indian psychological principles as its foundation. This book explains the therapeutic techniques of the ancient India. Br plus D, expand the mental vision, focuses on expanding the mental vision rather than working on the disturbing thoughts. Br D, expansion of mental vision, is a focus of this book. Unveiling the Secrets of Indian Psychology. When most of the psychology books and author focus and is studied based on the Caucasian population, Dr. Lakshmi T.K. unveils the secrets of Indian psychology completely based on the Indian literature and scriptures. Thank you, sir. Bridi Vidya, Br and Dhi. That is how the word is separated, which means expanding the mental vision. And the other book is Unveiling the Secrets of Indian Psychology, both authored by Dr. Lakshmi T.K., founder and president of Mastermind Foundation. Thank you, sir. Now we take this opportunity and moment to felicitate our special guest dignitaries and the participants of the fusion play and now we take the moment to felicitate some special guests and dignitaries and the participants of the cultural program of this evening. May I now request Mrs. R. Jayanti. R. Jayanti is the principal of Clark School for the Deaf and has 40 years of experience teaching children with intellectual disabilities. She specializes in hearing impairment, mental retardation, blindness, psychological problems, and counseling the children. She is a recipient of the Special Teacher Award from the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu in 2021 for her outstanding service to the welfare of the differently able. Mastermind Foundation is happy to acknowledge her contribution in this field. I request Ms. R. Vasanta Selva Kumari, a native of Tanjavur district, who is a mental health activist and has dedicated her life to help children with disabilities. Despite her own disabilities, she has raised the two children, one of whom is a differently able, and has started an organization to help the children with physical disabilities, and has helped the children with the disabilities during the pandemic by visiting their residence. Mastermind Foundation appreciates your role in helping the differently abled. May I now request Dr. Suganthan, the third generation Vaidya and an autism advocate who is passionate about helping children with autism. Dr. Suganthan has conducted many programs to support his goal, and he is a recipient of several awards. To mention a few: Best Service Award from Nehru Yuva Kendra, Humanitarian Award from Indian Red Cross Society, Ayurveda Pracharak Award from Vishwa Ayurveda Parikshit, Ayush Excellence Award from Telangana Governor, and we are happy to appreciate and acknowledge your services, sir. May I now request Dr. R. Radha Bhalachandra, founder of Brain to Act program. She is a pediatric physiotherapist, psychological counselor, and her intervention has given a new lease of life to the children with learning and attention difficulties, autism and ADHD, learning disabilities and development delay. She has been awarded with Distinguished Clinician Award by the Indian Physiotherapy Association in 2020. May I now request Ms. Padmaja Murugayan from Coimbatore, a compassionate individual who first started by helping a homeless, mentally challenged person by taking to her home, and now has become a profession that he helps all mentally challenged people without home taken to her shelter, gives them care, and tries for rehabilitation. And if they pass away during the course, she also performs their funeral rites. Padmaja has also given Tithi to all those who passed in her shelter at Kashi, and as of the practice, she gave up eating rice at Kashi for the welfare of the people who lost their life in her shelter. She is an example by her selfless service. May I now request Mr. Kannan. Kannan has extended selfless services for the people in poverty by extending educational support, shelter, and to the old age people for the betterment of their life and their mental health and happy living. He has touched thousands of people by providing a shelter to them during the pandemic, COVID-19. May I now request Professor Dr. T.S. Chandrasekhar, an internationally renowned gastroenterologist and endoscopist who has made significant contribution to the mental health service. As a founder and chairman of MedIndia Hospitals in Chennai, Dr. Chandrasekhar has established comprehensive mental health program that offers a wide range of service to the patients of all ages. He is a recipient of Padma Shri in 2016 and the Best Individual Award for serving the disabled from the Honorable President of India in 2017, apart from several national and international awards. May I now request Dr. Ramasubramaniam, who has participated in many public awareness programs. He is the trained infectious diseases and HIV in control in UK. After getting his MRCP, he has obtained diplomas in tropical medicine and hygiene from London. Even though his specialty is different, he focuses on the mental health by contributing his expertise to the public health officials. I request Mrs. KBG Dr. Sumitra Prasad, the founder of General Secretary of Dorai Foundation, a community-based organization working on rehabilitation and empowerment at the grassroots level, impacting 10,65,966 lives pan-India. She is a recipient of many awards for her unconditional service. I now request Mr. Appu Nandagopan, an auto driver, who spearheads the formation of North Chennai Mentally Retarded Parents Association in 2006. The association now hosts over 1,500 committed parents and works to create an awareness amongst the North Madras for population of North Madras and he hosts a special event on the Autism Awareness Day, drawing participation of 1,000+ special children and parents. I request the recipients of this felicitation to come over to the dais for a special photograph. I request Mrs. R. Jayanti, Mrs. R. Vasanta Salvakumari, Dr. Suganthan, Dr. Radha Balachandar, Mrs. Padmaja Murugayan, Mr. Kannan, Professor Dr. T.S. Chandrasekhar, Dr. V. Ramasubramaniam, Ms. Sumitra, and Mr. Appu Nandagopan to come to the dais for the group photograph. Thank you, sir. Now we move on to recognizing and awarding the short film entries. As we mentioned earlier, there were entries requested from various institutions, and the shortlisted two made the final presentation today. And it was a competition, and of the competition now is the time to announce the winner of the competition. SRM Institute of Science and Technology, for their movie Dear Diary, takes the second prize of this competition. I request the team SRM Institute of Science and Technology to come and collect your prize. The second prize for the short film goes to SRM Institute of Science and Technology for Dear Diary. That's SRM Institute of Science and Technology receiving the second prize for the short film, for their short film, Dear Diary. And now we know who takes the first prize. The first prize goes to Wales Institute of Science, Technology and Advanced Studies for their movie Monotonous. The first prize in the short film goes to Wales Institute of Science, Technology and Advanced Studies for the movie Monotonous. Now request the team that presented the street play today here from the Madras School of Social Work. The street play team from the Madras School of Social Work to come onto the dais to collect your certificates. The team from Madras School of Social Work for the street play, the Vikramadityan and Vedal team. Thank you, the team from Madras School of Social Work. And now we call the team that presented the beautiful fusion dance and musical presentation, Jalilo Gymkhana, the team Dorai Foundation to come onto the dais. Dorai Foundation that presented the fusion dance and musical presentation on mental health awareness. The song Jalilo Gymkhana, and a special mention to Miss Jyoti, who enthralled us with her beautiful voice. Miss Jyoti, for her beautiful voice and the lovely singing, needs a special mention here. Here we present to you the team Dorai Foundation for the music, dance and...
Honorable Governor honored Jyoti by
It's very appropriate to mention that the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu honored Jyoti during Mother's Day celebration at the same Bharatiya Hall when Ms. Jyoti delivered a beautiful song here on the Mother's Day celebration. Thank you, Team Dorai Foundation. May I now request Dr. Subhashini, Madras School of Social Work, to come onto the dais for this special activities as Mental Health Ambassador Institution. Dr. Subhashini from Madras School of Social Work for being the Mental Health Ambassador Institution. And now request Mrs. Sujata from SDNB Vaishnava College for Women, Crumpet, for the Mental Health Ambassador Institution. For being the Mental Health Ambassador Institution, here is Mrs. Sujata from SDNB Vaishnava College for Women, Crumpet. Thank you, sir. This has been a day that is filling our thoughts with beautiful information and how we as a society play a role in the mental health of the public, of the affected individual, and the entire society. We now request the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu to address the gathering. Enlighten us with your thought. We are looking forward to hearing to you, sir.
I think, Ma'am Comparer, you have been doing an outstanding work. You can sit down now. Please sit down. Dr. Lakshmi TK, other distinguished persons on the dais, all the distinguished persons sitting here, my dear students, it has been a very, very sobering and ennobling experience for me to be with you, to get to know so many good works that many of you are doing here. And I had the privilege to felicitate some of you. The amount of work that you are doing, each one, is highly commendable, to say the least. A great service you are all doing to the society. I appreciate and I was touched by the play which Madras School of Social Work's students they displayed here. Our children, the song that they performed, films, the two films which were shown here, these are all very, very very enlightening, very touching. And I once again convey my deepest sense of gratitude to all of you, those who are doing such a great work, such great service to our people. People who are usually in the attention shadow area of the government. It is not something which interests our political class, and society at large also looks at it only occasionally, and that too either with unconcern or with pity, or sometimes, as we were all told, with a sense of a stigma. Mental health, we know, I think we have limited it to certain categories where the problem is, if you call it problem, it is manifest. like let's take the case of people on a spectrum, autistic children, and their number is fairly large. We don't have a very accurate and trustworthy census, but I got to know some time back when I was in Delhi, at least 50 lakhs people in our country are suffering from autism. There are other issues related to our mental condition and people who are suffering from it. But this problem is much, much wider, much, much larger. We know in our country, several 100,000 people commit suicide every year. Apparently, they are all very normal people doing reasonably in different fields. They are doing well. Some of them are reasonably high achievers, be the students, be the farmers, be the professionals, be the soldiers. After all, apparently a normal looking person, a happy person, taking one's life, does it not qualify to come in the category of mental health? I think it does. Now, mental health, if we look at closely, in fact, I find it difficult to find many people who can be considered as mentally sound and they are healthy, because some or other form of stress leading to abnormal cognitive behavior, these are there in the people who are otherwise they looking normal. Even today, going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist for clinical psychologist is considered a stigma by many. People say, yes, this chap has gone Brantan, is mad, and society tends to dismiss them. I think this is very, very unfortunate, and I would congratulate the Mastermind Foundation for taking initiative, and many others, those of you who are doing it, and those who are not here, to create awareness. You are creating awareness. First of all, is it a disease? I don't think it should be called a disease. We can find a more appropriate word, because a person who is otherwise fine, no one knows actually when a person turns abnormal and does something abnormal. And it's all linked with the mind. Now the treatment or the intervention, usually what is given, they also have their limitations. And limitations that we find today are largely because the interventions are based on our understanding of human mind as a matter, as a chemical reaction. You know, Dr. Lakshmi has written some books on the Indian system or Indian approach to mental issues. I think it's time that our experts whichever field they are, who are dealing with these issues, they should take serious note of it. You know, our knowledge system, the prevailing knowledge system is essentially the European knowledge system. In the European knowledge, there is a fundamental difference between Bharatiya Jnana Paddhati, Indian knowledge system, and the European knowledge system. And it is applicable across. And I'm afraid the people today, they do not take it, many of them, they don't take it in the right spirit. The fundamental difference between the European knowledge system, the European epistemology, and Bharatiya Jnana Paddhati, Indian epistemology, is that the European knowledge system considers essentially humans as a physical body. And all these organs, whatever it behaves the way it behaves abnormally, it has a material intervention to that. It is what is called bhautik gyan, knowledge of the matter and material world. And with this, they do, and they are doing good service. It's not that they are not doing, they are doing great service. But there are areas which go beyond the physical, the material. They try to create or coin some expressions. In the physical world, the thing which they are not able to explain with the laws of the matter or the laws of the energy, they will say it is a metaphysics. In the psychology, if it goes beyond their understanding, it's a parapsychology. These are all creation of terms. They are all trying to frame their response, their understanding. Like in medical science, when something you don't understand, you call it idiopathy. It sounds very nice word, as if there is something. The fact is, it means nothing. That only the plain and simple confession that I don't know about it. That is why I am using this expression. Now, in our Indian knowledge system, Bharatiya Jnana Paddhati, humans are not just matter. It is more than that. And that is where the holistic appreciation of the body, including the mind, which is there in the Indian knowledge system, if it is appreciated, studied and appreciated, it has way forward. It has many solutions. You know, the European knowledge system, we all know that it has started. It's a history, if you look at the history of European knowledge system, what we call Western knowledge system. It has started about nearly 400 and odd years ago, out of a conflict between the king and the church. Church had come up with a lot of dogmas, a lot of beliefs. Kings were not happy because the church was dominating in the life of people and the state. And the conflict was because the kings were assertive, they didn't want church to get into their affairs. And they started patronizing intellectuals to come up with arguments. And then came the age of enlightenment, what is called, they call it enlightenment or age of reason. And a lot of literature came explaining that whatever stands to reason, accept, whatever does not stand to reason, reject. And since many of the teachings or the dogmas of the church was not subject to logical explanation or logical answer, reject it. And then out of this over century conflict, couple of centuries this conflict went on, and finally came the separation of the two. Domain of the king, domain of the church are two separate domains. And that is from there they came the word secularism, that, okay, you, each one of you remain within your own domain, don't get into others. But that created a body of literature which gave overall preeminence to reason, logic, buddhi. And this preeminence was so much that it acquired the position of a sovereign status. Whatever stands to reason, accept. Whatever does not stand to reason, reject. So reason is sovereign. In our Indian knowledge system, reason is important, buddhi is important, but buddhi is not sovereign. Because there are things which is buddhi cannot understand. Because what is buddhi? Buddhi is what we acquire through our 5 sense organs, panch jnanendriyas. It is accumulation, permutation, combination of the memories, the experiences that we gain, we call it buddhi. All these, we call it artificial intelligence, call it computer. All these essentially boils down to this very fact. This is bhautik buddhi. But each of our 5 jnanendriyas, we know that they are finite. There are colors beyond our eyes can see. There are sounds beyond our ears can listen. There are smells beyond our nose can perceive. There are tastes beyond our tongue can appreciate. All these are finite. So with this finite senses, the knowledge of the physical world, the bhautik buddhi that we acquire, are limited. And that is where, in our understanding, the human person has multiple facets, not one: physical, intellectual, and spiritual. That is, there are things that have to be experienced, what is called anubhuti. When you listen a melodious music, you don't reason and say that, okay, it is a, by such and such logic, this is a good music. No, you are swayed by it. When you listen, when you look at a beautiful flower, you don't reason. There is no logical process going on. Somebody can explain it in the terms of, for example, if you look at a beautiful flower, a botanist can always try to find out its chemical composition, but in the process, the beauty is lost. So, there are things which have to be experienced, which is anubhuti. And only this, when the buddhi, bhautik buddhi and the anubhuti, when they meet together, it is sambuddhi, and that is where one calls it jnanam, knowledge that one has. In our system, this has been the tradition since the time of the Vedas, several thousand years ago. Several thousand years ago, our people, they realized, our rishis, our siddhas, and they explained it. We, political correctness, we say in our literature, our this and that. The fact is, these are our texts, the old texts, the scriptures, they tell you about it. Much of the, and that is why we say, one of the ways, we know that much of the problem, the mental stress, there is something with the wiring. Something with the wiring which normally our children, our autistic children, they have. It is very little understood. And I'm not getting into that domain. They need care, they need rehabilitation. We need to know more and more about it. They have to be appreciated. They cannot be just left out. And nobody should be left out. But what I'm telling is there is a lot of areas where the mental conditions develop because of our own, what do you call chitta vritti. This too much, we saw the film, short film, how the social media is creating. We see it in everyday life. In every house, it's a common sight. Rarely parents and children sit together, maybe sometime for meal. But even if they sit together, each one is busy on one's own mobile Father is busy, mother is busy, children are busy, each one. Are they together? Physically, yes, but they are not. This social media has created so much of distance between people. Now, these are creating, they create their own stress. Stress leads to abnormal behavior and abnormal consequences for the self, for the other. Now, in our Indian knowledge system, there are the way to treat or way to approach the human person is holistic. When you look at the person physical, intellectual, and emotional, spiritual, what we call is all holistically. And in the process, there are so many techniques which have been developed, which needs to be studied afresh and disseminated, like yoga. Now we all know, now we have taken, thanks to our Prime Minister, we have now, the world has started talking about yoga. But yoga is by and large understood only as asanas. You did some asana and fine. We know that anyone who has elementary understanding of yoga knows that asana is only 1/8 of yoga. It is after all Ashtanga. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. It is only one part of it. Now, holistically, if you look at yoga, it is essentially Chitta Vritti Nirodh. How to control your mind, which is so active beyond your control. Because Chitta also, in yoga, in the Chit, what is consciousness, what is your mind, has 5 stages they have tried to explain. Chipta, Muddha, Vikshipta, Ekagra, Niruddha. Now, world at large is caught between two, either Chipta or Muddha. Chipta is, you are all the time something or else is happening in your mind. You are not stable. You are not something or other. You are sitting here, but a lot of things are going on in your mind. Chipta. And Muddha is one which is sleeping dull. It's like a buffalo. Now, this how to control it, how to stabilize it. And for that, it is Ashtanga. Now, it's time that yoga is also, yoga is taken to the world, to our own people and to the world, holistically, not merely asanas. And in the asanas also now we find all kinds of, it's the age of market. So people have started branding this yoga, that yoga, and they do yoga in such a way that it is everything other than yoga. Yoga is supposed to be, every position is supposed to be sukham. It has to be comfortable. But no, you get, and they will try to say it is a hatha yoga. I think this is all kinds of erroneous interpretation or misinterpretation of yoga which is going on, and there lies the responsibility of our teachers, those who are in this domain, to disseminate the correct information, correct process. How to create an equanimity, how to keep oneself in a otherwise a stressful situation, how to maintain the poise, not the physical poise, the mental poise. It comes with a training, abhyasa. Somebody said abhyasa, it is abhyasa. But abhyasa, it has to be a properly conducted abhyasa. Sometimes people ask me, not those who know me reasonably well, but others, my friends and others, those who ask me, Mr. Governor, you must be quite highly stressed. You are. I really smile at it and wonder, what is there a stress for me? A stress, how do you train yourself that a situation that otherwise looks stressful, it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect you. You develop that, In Bhagavad Gita, there are a number of illustrations, a number of slokas which talks about the virtue of it, you know, where you try to get to that position where when you believe that I am everything, then you are a problem. We should realize that there are forces beyond your control. You do whatever you can, do your best, and live it. If you have that attitude, things don't affect you adversely. You know, what is in yoga, in Bhagavad Gita, it is called Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga. You know, but it's full of such insistence. Even in Mahabharata, when Arjuna was all stressed, fight, not to fight, why should I fight? And then the way Sri Krishna explains, it is nothing but yogic therapy, essentially trying to condition his mind that you think that you are doing what you are doing, it is already done. You play your role, which you are supposed to play. Now, it is needed today. Today it is needed that our Indian knowledge system, Indian way of understanding human mind, it should be appreciated. This knowledge should be disseminated. And you know, today much of the problem that we are facing in the world because of a lifestyle, because of a philosophy of life, which is European philosophy, where humans are at the center of creation and the rest of the creation is for the pleasure of the human. That is why we are at war with the environment. You have the climate issues, all the issues the whole world is facing. We are at war with ourselves. Either a smaller war, larger war, visible wars, invisible wars. Sometimes we are fighting war within ourselves, each one. There is a beautiful sloka in Bhagavad Gita that tells you about Atmanaiva hi Atmano Bandhu Atmanaiva Ripur Atmana. You are self. Self is the friend of self. Self is the enemy of self. And I would like to say that self is the best friend of self and self is the worst enemy of self. How to make yourself the best friend? And for that it is Abhyasa, yoga, and various experts have their ways they try to explain you. And I think this should be propagated. And because, you know, the European science, that is the modern science, also lacks the vocabulary. They do not have adequate expressions for conveying certain situations. That is why you have the word called metaphysics, parapsychology, because they are struggling. They have to find within the limited vocabulary there. You know, you should realize that a vocabulary of a language is directly linked with the evolutionary status of that civilization. When civilization evolves, it struggles to get expression, to express its experiences. So it is vocabulary of a language. It is linked with, you can see that. You can visit and you can see the different areas in our own country. I have my experience. There are communities where the vocabulary is very, very limited because they have not evolved to that. Look at our own here, Tamil. Such a huge vocabulary because it's highly evolved. Because when you evolved, you find expressions to convey your experience. And it is in the process of evolution. European civilization is hardly about 400 to 500 years old. That is what the Western civilization is. Now, they have not yet reached that state. In physical knowledge, yes, they are par excellence, they are way ahead. That is why they have created so many such a large vocabulary of physical sciences. But beyond that, in the domain of the spiritual, in the domain of what is called, adhyatmic, they are still very, their experiences are very low. They have not created those expressions for that. But we are trying to adjust this domain, which we are talking about, Bharatiya Jnana Paddhati, may our knowledge of human body or human person, I won't call it body, human person, we are trying to explain in terms of the vocabulary of the material vocabulary created by the West. This is not sufficient. We need to use these expressions, and these expressions need to be explained. We don't have necessarily to coin a word for that. I mean, we don't necessarily have to do the permutation combination of words in English or other European languages to adjust this. No. This is a term, original term. For example, Atmana. Atmana is not just soul. Cannot be understood by soul. The moment you say soul, then the soul harvesting begins. Now, this Atman is Atman. It has to be understood only in the terms of Atman. Dharma is not religion. It cannot. It is not. This has to be. But we have a tendency wherever we have to use this. Darshan is not philosophy. Philosophy is a very limited expression. Root of philosophy is logic. Darshan is drishti, where our physical and intuitive anubhuti, bodhik and anubhuti, they meet. That is the drishti. That is why we call it darshan. But we will all use the term philosophy. Now, I think it is our responsibility that in our Indian knowledge system, the terms which are used in our Indian languages, be in Tamil, be in Sanskrit, we should use those terms. We should explain those terms, try to explain those terms to others, rather than doing injustice to our own knowledge by using the terms which are incapable of conveying those meanings. And that is why our Prime Minister has, you might have heard from this 15th August Independence Day, it gave a call for Panch Prana. Panch Prana. We have to have 5 resolve. And the one resolve is getting rid of the last vestige of colonization. The last vestige of colonization. When British left India and people were celebrating, Mahatma Gandhi was sulking in a colony, Bhangi colony. Media people went and asked, why are you not celebrating? And he said, our freedom movement is not yet over. British have left us only physically. They are still in our mind. They are still occupying our mind. And erasing them out of our mind will be far more difficult. He was so prophetic. Because even today, there are many apologists of the British, the way our people talk about them. They have colonized our mind. So much so that our knowledge, our ancient knowledge, we try to find expression in English. We feel shy of using our own terms. This colonization of mind has to go. And then another prana which Prime Minister talked about is taking pride in our heritage. And heritage is not just, the stones architecture of Mahabalipuram. Heritage is the living heritage also. Living heritage is our knowledge that is there in our text. That has to be read, that has to be understood and appreciated. And with this, if we move, we will be doing a great service to the humanity. You have just seen this year, when G20 summit happened, there were many skeptics all around that they will not be able to have a consensus leaders declaration. Because all the G20, though they are a part of a club, a group, They are countries at variance with each other. They don't see eye to eye. But it was credit of our country that we framed the whole declaration in such a way that every member agreed. Because we did not frame it in the usual geopolitical terms, but we called it, well, the theme was Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Yadum Ure Yavarum Kelir. World is a family. When Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, how can anyone oppose that? And it is not just a slogan, it is our heritage. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam was not created by Prime Minister Modi. It is there for thousands of year old text. It is there. It is not that. We are just drawing that strength. We are drawing on that strength to build a new Bharat for the best, for the benefit of the world, to save the world. We have seen in all the conflicts, we are taking a very clear position. And the world is coming to accept it. So when our country is rising, we need to be proud of our ancient knowledge system. We need to propagate it. That is why in the National Education Policy 2020, there is a good deal of a stress on our Indian knowledge system. Some people, those who are not aware of it, they will ask, what is their Indian knowledge system? There is a lot. We don't blame them because they have not been taught, they have not been told. There is so much of ignorance. So it is the responsibility, and I am happy that when I had cursorily went through your book, I felt so delighted that you have taken out from the text and you were trying to formulate a response to many of the psychological problems, a new approach. And this new approach is to be appreciated by all of us. And I'm very happy that all of you came and you gave me the opportunity to meet you, to have the benefit of felicitating you, or the privilege of felicitating you. I'm really grateful to you all. I also admire those who are, the training those kids, taking care of them. You are doing a great service. And the country looks upon you. Society looks upon you with a lot of reverence, with a lot of expectation. And when we are talking about universal human right, I think we should talk about universal duty also. It is okay, it is a right they have. It isn't our duty. I think we should couch it in terms of our duty. That will be far more relevant. A person whose right is being denied because we are not performing our duty. So there has to be greater emphasis on our duty to all those, our brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, those who need the care, those who are not fortunate enough as others are, as many of us are. We have a duty. And let us also not forget that all of us who are so looking pretty hale and hearty, what will happen next moment you can't say for sure. I am here talking big things. The next moment I can be a crippled person. I can be a person object of pity, I will fall. Anything can happen to this. So that is what it is, Ma kuru dhana jana yauvan garvam nimisata kalai harati sarvam. Anything can happen. Think of that. And with that sense, let us do our duty to all our brothers, sisters, sons and daughters, those who need the care. Thank you very much for coming here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for enlightening us with your thoughts and helping us to understand the difference between the European and the Bharatiya knowledge systems. How the beautiful, simple word like Atma, Dharma, Darshan cannot be found or find an equivalent of that in any of the European languages, and also for emphasizing the fact that we should find